Good Tuesday morning. There's a great text here from Romans. I'll read it to you, okay? Brothers and sisters, he says, I'm not ashamed of the gospel. It is the power of God for the salvation of everyone who believes. For the Jew first, and then the Greek, the world, see? For in it is revealed the righteousness of God from faith to faith, as it is written, the one who is righteous by faith will live. Now it goes on. It's a critique now. The wrath of God is indeed being revealed from heaven against every impiety and wickedness of those who suppress the truth by their wickedness. For what can be known about God is evident to them, because God made it evident to them. Ever since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes of eternal power and divinity have been able to be understood and perceived in what he has made. As a result, they have no excuse. For although they knew God, they did not accord him glory as God or give him thanks. Instead, they became vain in their reasoning, and their senseless minds were darkened. While claiming to be wise, they became fools, and exchanged the glory of the immortal God for the likeness of an image of mortal man, of birds or four-legged animals or snakes. Therefore God handed them over to impurity, to the lusts of their hearts, for the mutual degradation of their bodies. They exchanged the truth of God for a lie, and revered and worshipped the creature rather than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. Boy, it's a powerful line. Boy, I think of that a lot. It is, you see, it is there's a fundamental truth beyond the gospel, beyond the truth of the letter, the inspired letter. And then is, you can see the character of the author in the novel that is written. The work of the artist reveals the artist, you see. And they're saying you have no excuse. When you look at the world, you see the presence of God. St. Bonaventure called it Le Vestigia Dei, the footprints of God are found in the world. But one must have a humble heart in looking at that. One has to be open to the revelation that nature alone will provide, that the revelation of God occurs in nature. Even, I think, beyond, and this is St. Bonaventure, not just the God of creation, but the God of redemption. I would say the transcendence of beauty found in the dynamisms of life and the world itself finds not only the Creator, but the hope of tomorrow, the future. That's redemption. The belief in tomorrow. I take that very seriously. I don't take the proofs of the existence of God all that seriously when I teach it. Teach philosophy of religion, but that is still basically evident that there is an orderliness to life and a beauty to life itself, even in its dynamisms, the life-death continuum of the biological world. One sees the beauty of life, and it seems to me the evolution of tomorrows. One sees, in some senses, the beauty of life itself. Life. Not the mechanisms, but the beauty of the self-assurgence and resurgence of life itself. I don't think I'm saying that right at all or well at all this morning. You see what blocks that is just what St. Paul says, is vanity. It's human vanity. It's the belief that we can know and control the world around us. Rather than have a reverential love for the world, we seek to control it. That certainly began in the age of the Enlightenment, where knowledge was power, and the ability to know and to mathematize was the ability to control the world. I believe it was Sir Isaac Newton who said, if given sufficient mathematics, we could eliminate the roll of the dice. The chance in the roll of the dice. We could eliminate chance that in fact, they looked upon the world as being a fixed clock. Okay, even the ones who try to prove God's existence, like William Paley, saw the world as a clock, and God was the clockmaker. The problem with that was, what do you do with the violence? It doesn't work. So you have to end up, in some ways, either excusing the violence or claiming it's not even real. It's because you see the world as a fixed entity, see? And that becomes the role of mathematical physics up until the end of the 19th century. I don't think the physicist that believes alive today who would say the world is a clock. It's not. It's an exciting adventure of existence itself with the uncertainty of tomorrow. We go from, in a sense, geometry to, oh, I'm not saying that right, I'm not saying it well, but to, in a sense, quantum mechanics, quantum physics. The leap, there's leaps in life, there's leaps in existence. We're not a fixed world, it's not a fixed clock. In a sense, I would switch it and say it's an organic universe, it's living. And that seems to me to, if we have the humility to accept the world for what she is and her self-revelation, she will teach us about the Creator Redeemer, who is immanent within all this great dynamism. I've not done a good job at this one this morning at all. I'm not saying it well. I'm sloppy, and I really apologize for that. But I see, because I'm in the academic world, I see the power of intellectual vanity. See? Because it's not a case, it's a case of not having the humility of love for the world, but rather the will to control it. See? It's like a love affair between people. If you seek to control your partner in life, you'll end up dying alone. But if you have the humility to allow yourself to love and be loved, and allow the other to reveal herself or himself to you through the intimacy of love, then you are possessing without possession. Then the truth and the beauty reveals itself. If you seek to know and control, you'll end up with your knowledge and your controls, and you'll end up with nothing. You will miss the beauty. You will miss the intimacy. See, the enemy of intimacy is the desire to know and control. Know in that sense of controlling. It's playing it safe. It's the ultimate form of personal vanity, to place oneself first, before the world, before life, before the other. When you have the humility of love, then the object of your love ceases to be an object and it becomes a subject. And then one enters into intimacy. I think of that very much. I think one either loves the world or tries to control it. If one loves the world through the humility of love, then one will actually be possessed by and possess the world. See? But not as a thing, but as a person. The personality of life itself. I'm not saying any of this well this morning. I'm just stumbling. But I know the difference between vanity and love. I know the difference between knowledge to control and knowledge that comes from intimacy. One is personal, the other is not. I think so often the great failures of life, especially not just in the scientific world, the world to control, but in the human interactions between people. The route to loneliness is the will to control. Intimacy comes from self-surrender, through the humility of love, allowing the other to be self-revealed in loving exchange. If you love the world, she will speak to you. The Native Americans had that. They had that in spades. They understood. They loved their world, and that world spoke to them in the most intimate terms. We controlled that world and almost destroyed it. The Native Americans did not destroy the wilderness. We did, because we decided we knew more. We decided to control it. We planted instead of hunted. And in planting, we destroyed almost the whole Midwestern part of our continent. So only thank God we changed our minds in the late 19th century and began to recover. Thank you, Theodore Roosevelt, and Boone and Crockett, and many of the organizations. Conservation, which is an act of love for the beauty of the earth, not to control it, to revere it and love it and preserve it. It's a love affair. It's not engineering. In this sense, God save us from the engineers. Give us the artists who love the world and articulate it through the intimacy of love, through the humility of love, not by control.